Are you feeling feline fine? I am. That's because our special guest today champion all cats in front of and behind the camera. The human in this duo is one of the first bloggers on the internet, and she's not that old. Come on. And the feline in this duo happily wears many titles: therapy cat, actress, cat model, cat social media influencer. Please welcome to our show Janice Garza and her Somali cat, Summer. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm already being upstaged by Summer here.
So, just for they live in the LA area, and Summer, I think, has the drive of a border collie. Can I even say that? Because this cat loves to do. This cat loves to learn. This cat loves to visit people. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, she had a blast visiting some seniors earlier today.
Oh, as a therapy cat?
Yeah, we went to a pair of assisted living homes that we visit regularly.
I like that. I like that very much. Well, folks, when it comes to the social media, move over Katy Perry because Summer, you roar. Wouldn't you agree? Now,
I
why did I do that reference? Maybe because our special guest started out as a rock journalist, rock and roll, and now she's a cat blogger. And I think that might be even a step up. So,
Oh, well,
Janice,
it was
I
long
really,
before Katy Perry was even like,
I
thinking of
know.
her
But I was
doing.
trying to do a rock song reference. I'm not that hip. I played the Glockenspiel in high school. Give me a break. But when you think about it, can we just go back in time a little bit, Janice? Um, how did you become a rock journalist? And you were one of the first bloggers, which I always have admired you because you're kind of think ahead of the curve. I like that.
Yeah, well, actually, I almost didn't become a rock journalist because of Lester Bangs, who is a very famous rock journalist from Cream magazine in the 70s and very early 80s, because oh my God, he is so amazing, or he was so amazing. He's passed away for many years
Yeah.
now. But yeah, I was like, I can never do that, but I love music and everything. And somehow I fell backwards into it because I had some friends that were playing in a top 40 band. I was going to all sorts of clubs, but I had friends playing in a top 40 band. And my dad gave me a camera one birthday. And so I took my camera down there, 35 millimeter film, all that stuff, and took photos of them. And I was actually pretty good at it. So I kept on doing it. And, it didn't take very long before I started to get paid for it. And I got a hot tip on a band that was getting a cover story in a local paper called Music Connection. And so I took a bunch of pictures of that band, called up Music Connection, and they started using my photos. And the inevitable happened one day. I was shooting a Nils Lofgren show, and they called me and said, well, the journalist didn't show up. The writer didn't show up to the Nils Lofgren
They
show.
must have been smoking something. Who knows?
Maybe I don't know. But yeah, I just so they asked, can you write something for it maybe? And I was like, sure, because all that time I'd been a writer, I just hadn't been a rock writer because I love writing. So I wrote something, and the editor Bud, who was my first mentor, said, you're really good. Keep doing it.
Oh,
So that's how I got started. And so I was doing both photography and rock journalism, like writing concurrently for a couple of years. And then I started working more as a writer. And so the photography sort of fell by the wayside. Yeah, that's sort of how it happened. And I was writing for a heavy metal hard rock magazine called Rip, and
oh,
eventually the
cool.
editor of that magazine. It was actually one of the best magazines in that genre, really intelligently written. We had awesome, amazing writers. I know because I came to edit some of them because I got hired as the senior editor of the
Awesome.
magazine by
Wow.
the guy who was who was the head editor. He was the head guy over at Rip, and Lon Friend, and he I worked for him for man until he left to go work as A&R at Arista Records, and a couple of years after that. And yeah, and That's
So some of the bands that you've written about, can you just do a little name dropping of
well, yeah,
musicians or
I'll
bands?
tell you like a couple of people I did cover stories on. I did cover stories on the Black Crowes and
Okay,
on Pantera. I just
nice.
okay. I was the first national journalist to discover Pantera. Like, all the Texas journalists knew about them because they were a Texas band, But
Right.
yeah, they hadn't hit nationally. They just gotten a record deal and finished their record. And the record label called me up actually and said, "Hey, we need a bio written for this band." So I literally was the first journalist because summer keeps on rubbing up against
That's all right.
yeah, so like literally I was the first journalist because we're still putting together the press packet. So they sent
Wow,
me,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
they sent me the advanced cassette and I was like totally blown away. So not only did I, do an interview for, I interviewed the singer Phil and the other guys in the band, for, the bio, but yeah, I held some stuff back so I could write, rip stories on them. And,
Wow, that
yeah.
is awesome. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, have you ever done like, pop rockers or no? You're more hard rock, right?
No, yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm more of a hard rock, alternative rocker sort of person. I mean, I worship Nirvana and stuff like
So,
that.
no, you didn't do the monkeys.
I mean, well, I think everybody liked the Monkees when they were kids, but yeah, just like, yeah. Actually, I worked for, yeah, this is going off on a tangent, but I actually worked for Mike Nesmith for a while, on
Oh,
a film that he produced, is executive produced called Repo Man. I was the
really?
supervising assistant film editor on that because before I
What'd
got
you
into
think of him? Because he was a kind of a quiet genius in the monkey
I
group.
had
When you
the
think,
biggest crush on him.
oh, crush
I
on
had
Mike Nesmith.
such a crush on him. Yeah, and he kind of knew it. He used to fly down from San Francisco to watch dailies on like very rare occasions because he was the executive producer, and those guys just don't. They just have their title on, and they're sort of
Yeah.
like you know at the top of the food chain or whatever. But yeah, I remember one time he came down. I was like all nervous and everything. And we had these flatbed moviolas because once again it was film, not digital. And yeah,
Right.
and I'm dropping the reels as I was trying to load the flatbed flatbed editor for him. And so like the head editor who was like, trying to help me get things set up, like Mike just like sort of looked at Dennis, the head editor, and said, "Look, you're making Janice nervous. She's dropping these reels." And he knew it was like, I had a crush on
Wow.
him. I
That
mean,
is so cool.